Hi there. I'm Lynn. Yeah, the bartender. My sister told me I wasn't elegant enough to be at her wedding. She erased me from the guest list, from the family group chat, even from our childhood home. What they didn't know? That house? It still had my name on the deed. They called me just a bartender, but why were they all so eager to move into the mansion I paid the taxes on? They pushed me out quietly, hoping I'd stay silent. But what happens when the one you underestimated finally says no? The champagne flutes clinked with hollow cheer, but something in the air had already turned. I stood near the corner of the banquet hall, trying to look like I belonged there, like I hadn't just been introduced to Logan's family as my sister Lynn. She's a bartender. That word hung heavier than the crystal chandelier above our heads. Bartender. Like it wasn't a real job. Like I wasn't the one who had helped Gypsy cover rent during her first year of law school, or bought her groceries when she blew her stipend on manicures and concert tickets. I knew that tone when Gypsy said it. Light, dismissive, her smile too polished. She used it the way people say, "She's harmless." And Logan's mom, Wanda, let her gaze slide over me the same way you'd glance at a stain on your white carpet, quick and impolite. I excused myself after 15 minutes. The fake smiles, the picture posing, the nervous jokes about seating charts, it was all background noise once the label, just a bartender, was out there. I didn't even get a hug when I left. Gypsy was too busy laughing with Wanda about the flower arrangements. I sat in my car for a good while, didn't even start the engine. Just stared at the dashboard and thought about how many times I'd picked Gypsy up when no one else did. I remembered the night she got dumped junior year and cried on my couch for hours. I held her hair back when she puked from too much wine at her graduation. I even drove her to her first job interview in heels she borrowed from me. But all of that vanished behind a single line. She's just a bartender. A few nights later, I was back at the bar I owned, cleaning glasses after closing. My bar was small, cozy, mostly regulars. No DJ, no gimmicks. Just whiskey, music, and familiarity. I'd built it from scratch. Took me 7 years to pay off the loan, but I did it. Without anyone's help. I was wiping down the counter when my phone lit up. A message from Gypsy. "Hey, sorry if things felt weird the other night. Wanda can be particular. I'm just trying to make a good impression." No apology, no ownership, just deflection, as always. It stung, but not in a surprising way. I was used to being the behind-the-scenes sister, the one who pays but doesn't pose, the one who gives but never gets credit. That night, I pulled out an old spiral notebook from the back office drawer. It had been collecting dust under receipts and menus. I started writing, not out of sadness, but clarity. I wrote down every time I'd covered for her, helped her, saved her, not to guilt her, not to use it against her, just to remember. Because something told me, if I didn't keep the facts straight, someone else was going to rewrite them for me. A week passed. The wedding planning was in full swing. I hadn't received any update about bridesmaid fittings or rehearsal dinners. When I texted Gypsy to ask about it, she replied, "We're still finalizing the list. It's been chaos." Right. The following Saturday, I drove over to drop off a box of things she'd left at my place months ago. When I got to her apartment, the door was cracked open. I heard voices, Wanda and Gypsy again. I mean, you don't want your big day cluttered by, people who don't exactly fit the vibe, Wanda said. Gypsy didn't respond, at least not loudly, but I didn't hear any protest. No, "Mom, stop," or "She's my sister," just silence. Complicit, cowardly silence. I didn't knock. I left the box at her doorstep and drove home. That night, I stayed up late going through old photos, birthdays, road trips, inside jokes. I paused on one, the two of us at a state fair, cotton candy in hand, laughing so hard we cried. That was before law school, before the Callahans, before vibes mattered more than people. I didn't cry, but something in me hardened, like a door quietly closing from the inside. The next morning, I got a call from one of our cousins, Krista. She sounded awkward. "Hey, just a heads up. Gypsy told Aunt Leah that you're not really coming to the wedding. She said you've been busy with, bar stuff." I clenched the phone. "Did she now?" "Yeah, I just wanted you to know. Thought maybe it wasn't true." I thanked her and hung up. I didn't feel rage. Not yet. Just something cold and steady forming underneath my ribs. Later that week, while I was placing a liquor order, another message popped in from Gypsy. Just confirmed the venue. It's going to be stunning. Wanda's covering most of it. I can't wait for you to see it. If you can make it. If I could make it. That was the moment I realized this wasn't just about a wedding. This wasn't about tablecloths and champagne flutes. This was about rewriting roles, erasing history. She was positioning herself as the woman from the clean slate family, not the girl raised on discounted groceries and second-hand uniforms. And in that version of the story, there was no room for me. I didn't respond. Instead, I opened my calendar, highlighted her wedding date, and wrote 2 words in red: stand by. I didn't know what I'd do yet, but I wasn't going to beg for a seat at a table I built for her in the first place. I didn't have a plan. Not yet. But the longer I stared at that red ink on my calendar, the more certain I became of one thing. I wasn't going to pretend like this was normal, like it didn't hurt, like being excluded from my own sister's wedding was just a simple misunderstanding. It was the following Thursday. I had just finished wiping down the tables at the bar, my body tired but my mind wound tight. The dinner rush had ended. A soft hum from the fridge compressor and the occasional honk from the street outside were all that filled the quiet. Then my phone rang. It was Gypsy. I stared at the screen a moment longer than usual before I answered. "Hey," I said, neutral. "Hey," she replied, drawing it out like this was a casual check-in, like nothing between us had shifted. "So, I wanted to talk to you about the wedding." My stomach tensed. "We've decided to keep it small," she said, like she was reading off a script. "Just immediate family and close friends." I stood there, still holding a towel, my hand frozen mid-wipe. Aren't I immediate family? There was a pause, so quick you'd miss it if you didn't know her. But I did. "Well, yes, of course," she said, but the tone was soft, guilty. "It's just, Wanda thinks it'll be more elegant if the guest list stays tight. You know, intimate." "Elegant?" I echoed. "Yeah, like, polished, less chaotic." "And I'm chaotic?" I asked, my voice sharper now. No, it's not about that. It's just, seating is tricky, and Logan's family, they're kind of particular." "Particular," I repeated, biting back the heat behind my eyes. "You mean particular about having someone like me in the photos?" Gypsy didn't deny it. "It's just one day, Lynn. One day that apparently defines our relationship." Her voice dropped into that fake sweet register I knew too well. "Don't make this about you." I laughed once, dry and sharp. "It was never about me, Gypsy. That's the damn point." She didn't say goodbye. Neither did I. I hung up, tossed the towel onto the bar, and stood there, staring at the empty room like it held the answers I was missing. Later that night, I called our mom. If anyone could see through this ridiculousness, it would be her. Or so I thought. She picked up on the second ring. "Mom," I began, skipping pleasantries, "did you know I'm not invited to the wedding?" There was a long pause on her end. Then came the sigh. "You know how your sister gets. She wants things a certain way. And this is her big day." "That's your response?" I asked, stunned. "You're seriously okay with your daughter being left out like she's some second cousin?" "I'm not okay with it," she said quickly, but her tone was already retreating. "But I understand it. She's under pressure, Lynn. Logan's parents have expectations." "And what about me?" My voice cracked, not from weakness but sheer disbelief. "Do I not get anything? After everything I've done for her?" "Lynn, don't start keeping score," Mom warned, that tired edge creeping in. "That's not what family does." I almost threw the phone across the room. "That's exactly what family does, apparently," I snapped. "Keeps score, just not in my favor." She didn't have a comeback. She never really did when the truth made things messy. "She's always been delicate, Lynn," she added weakly, "and you've always been the strong one." That wasn't a compliment. That was a justification for letting me get hurt again and again. I hung up before I said something I couldn't take back. But inside, something was already breaking free. I started remembering how I gave up my college acceptance to help pay rent after Dad left. How I worked 2 jobs so Gypsy could take unpaid internships and still have gas in her car. How I sent her $300 when she got a parking boot in downtown Phoenix and begged me not to tell Mom. I remembered all the birthdays I planned, the surprise cake I baked the year she got dumped, the time I fought with her landlord when he tried to evict her after a missed rent. And now? Now I was not the vibe. The next day I opened Instagram to find a photo from one of her bridesmaids, a digital invitation mock-up with the caption, "It's official! Can't wait to celebrate this power couple." The guest list was visible in the screenshot. I zoomed in. There were people on there I hadn't spoken to since high school. Distant cousins, her college sorority sisters, a few coworkers I didn't even know she still talked to. But not me. I searched again. Nothing. I scrolled down to the comments. Wanda had replied to one. "Such a beautiful lineup. Can't wait to meet them all." That did it. This wasn't an oversight. This wasn't logistics. It was deliberate. I wasn't just uninvited. I was being rewritten out of the picture, erased like I'd never mattered at all. By the time Saturday rolled around, the air felt different. It wasn't just the dry Arizona heat settling into my skin. It was something sharper. A shift. Like all the years I'd spent swallowing disrespect were suddenly curdling inside me. I'd received 5 voicemails from Mom over the last 2 days. She didn't mention the wedding fallout directly, just her usual passive-aggressive tactics. "Call me when you're less dramatic," or "Don't let this silly thing come between sisters." That kind of denial had always been her brand. But this time, I responded. I asked her to meet me at a cafe just outside Old Town, halfway between her condo and my bar. I chose it for the neutral ground. Bright walls, friendly waitstaff, and coffee that tasted like someone cared while making it. She arrived 10 minutes late, wearing that look she always wore when she needed something, but didn't want to admit it. Tight smile, manicured guilt. "Hi, sweetie," she said, sitting across from me like nothing was broken. "You look tired." "Long week," I said, keeping it curt. After a few sips of iced tea and small talk about weather and traffic, she finally got to it. "So, Gypsy's really been stressed about the wedding." I said nothing. "She's just trying so hard to do everything right, you know? Planning a wedding is no joke these days." Still nothing. "That's why I wanted to run something by you," she continued, setting down her glass. "We were thinking, it might be a beautiful gesture, really generous, if we transferred the deed to Grandma's house. As a wedding gift." I blinked. "I'm sorry. What?" She leaned in like she was sharing something sacred. "You're not using all the rooms. It's a lot of space. And that property could really help Gypsy and Logan start strong. It's symbolic. A blessing from one generation to the next." My voice didn't rise, but my spine straightened. "That house was left to me," I said flatly. "Grandma's will is very clear." "I know, honey," she said, tone syrupy, "but you're not even married. No kids. And Gypsy? Gypsy isn't entitled to something just because she's getting a white dress and a hashtag," I snapped. Her smile cracked for a second. "Don't be ugly about this." "I'm not being ugly. I'm being factual," I said. "And let's be real, Mom. You didn't care about that house until Gypsy found out it was paid off." Her mouth opened, then closed. I stood up, left a 20 on the table, and said, "That house is not a gift. It's mine. And the fact that you even suggested it tells me everything I need to know." I didn't wait for her to follow me out. I drove straight to the house. The sun was brutal, casting sharp shadows along the stucco walls. As I turned into the driveway, I noticed a silver SUV parked just outside the gate. Strange. I stepped out of my car and heard voices from the backyard. Male, professional. Curious, I walked around the side of the house and nearly froze. Russell Callahan, Logan's father, was out back with a man in a polo shirt and khakis, holding blueprints. "The pool area has to go," Russell was saying. "We'll expand the patio here, maybe add a fire pit. Logan's wife deserves something timeless." I didn't move. They didn't even see me. They were planning renovations, on my house, like I was already gone, like I never existed. Russell clapped the guy on the back and said, "Let's get preliminary numbers by next week. I want this locked before the ceremony." Before the ceremony. I walked away before they noticed me. I couldn't trust my voice yet. That evening I called Krista. If anyone would shoot straight, it was her. "Hey," I said, pacing the kitchen with a beer in my hand. "You got a minute?" Please, she muttered. This family always gives me something to drink over. I laughed, but only a little. I need to ask you something. Were you ever officially invited to the wedding? She snorted. Not after the bridal brunch. Wanda said they were recalibrating the guest list. Translation: trimming the parts that didn't sparkle on Instagram. I leaned against the fridge. You too? Oh yeah, I heard Wanda tell Gypsy. Anyone who reminds them of where they came from should be left out. The words hit like cold water. This wasn't just a snub. It was erasure, carefully curated, deliberate. This isn't personal, Krista added. It's strategic. You're not just a bartender to them, Lynn. You're proof. Proof that their fairy tale is fake. I didn't reply. I didn't need to. That night, after I locked up the bar, I went home, opened my laptop, and logged into the county assessor's site. I pulled up the property deed. My name stared back at me in bold. Lynn Delaney, sole owner, no liens, no shared titles. I clicked through the PDFs, scanned the notarized documents, and smiled. They wanted a wedding gift? They'd get one they'd never forget. I closed the laptop slowly, like the weight of the screen held the weight of the decision I'd just made. I didn't slam it. I didn't pace. I just sat there in the dim light of my office, the hum of the ice machine in the back of the bar playing like white noise in my ears. Then the phone rang. The name on the screen made me pause. Dad. Dennis rarely called. He was the type of man who let Mom handle the messy stuff, emotions, disputes, apologies. His presence was always quieter, a passive force that preferred looking the other way than facing anything head-on. I let it ring once more, then answered. Hey. Hey, sweetheart, he said, like nothing had happened. You got a minute? I leaned back in my chair. Sure. He cleared his throat like it hurt. I just wanted to touch base. Gypsy, she's feeling overwhelmed. You know how she gets. She's also uninvited me to her wedding and tried to move into my house behind my back. A pause. Well, I don't know all the details, but your sister's under pressure. Wanda's got these expectations, and Logan's family is... they're old school. Old school doesn't mean cruel, I replied, voice even. I'm not saying she's right, he said quickly. I was thinking, maybe there's a middle ground. What if you let her use the house? Just for a bit. As a gesture. That was the moment the calm turned ice cold in my chest. No, I said simply. Silence. I'm not asking you to give it away, he added, gentle, measured. Just show her there's still room for forgiveness. No, I repeated. There's no room for lies, manipulation, or entitlement. Not anymore. He sighed, and it wasn't even frustrated. It was resigned. Like he'd known I'd say that, but he had to try for the sake of family performance. Okay, he said after a while. I just wanted to ask. I nodded, though he couldn't see it. Thanks for calling. We hung up, and I stared at the ceiling of my office for a long moment before grabbing my keys. That night, I walked through every room of the house. Grandma's house. My house. The one she left me not because I asked, but because I stayed when no one else did. And then came the memory. One I hadn't let myself sit with for a long time. It was right after Grandma passed. I'd just returned from the funeral home, still in a black dress, shoes dusty from the church parking lot. Dad had followed me into the kitchen while I made coffee. You know, he'd started carefully, a lot of families put homes like this in multiple names. That way it stays protected. Protected from who? I asked. He looked away. You just never know. I told him no. Not because I thought he'd steal it, but because I'd watched them all circle around Grandma in her final months like vultures disguised in good intentions. After that, dinners felt stiffer. Calls came less. I'd already started learning what it meant to be the one who said no. And here I was, doing it again. The next morning, as I restocked behind the bar before opening, Logan came in alone. He leaned on the counter like he had a casual question, but his eyes were scanning me like he was studying a test he hadn't prepared for. Morning, he said. Morning, I replied, not offering more. So, you still living at the Tonto house? I tilted my head. Yep, why? He shrugged, trying to act like he didn't already have a reason. I heard Gypsy say something about moving in early. Thought maybe you were... Transitioning out. I smiled, but not warmly. She must have gotten ahead of herself. Or maybe ahead of reality. He blinked. So, she's not— No, I said. She's not. He shifted on his feet. Right, cool. Just wanted to clear that up. When he left, I stood still for a moment. Then I walked into my tiny office, opened my inbox, and started typing. Subject, Property Clarification Body. This is formal notice that the property at 1208 Tonto Pass is not under consideration for transfer or occupancy. Please inform all involved parties accordingly. Any future communication on this matter should be directed through official legal channels. I reread it twice. Short, professional, no drama. Then I hit send. They wanted to act like I was invisible? Fine. But I'd learned something in the quiet. Silence is not the same as surrender. I wasn't raising my voice, but I was raising my wall. The following afternoon, I was wiping down the bar before we opened when the front door creaked open. We weren't supposed to unlock for another hour, but there he was. Logan. No gypsy, no entourage. Just him, standing in his polo shirt like someone trying hard not to look shaken. Hey, he said, voice a little too casual. I didn't look up. We're closed for another hour. I know, he replied, stepping in anyway. I needed to ask you something. It's been bugging me. That got my attention. I set the towel down and leaned my elbows on the bar. Shoot, he hesitated, eyes darting to the floor before meeting mine. Were you the one paying for Gypsy's law school? I didn't flinch. Yes. All of it? Every semester, every book, every credit hour? He ran a hand over his mouth. She told me her parents paid. I raised an eyebrow. Did she also tell you they took out a second mortgage for her dorm furniture? His jaw clenched, a muscle twitching along his cheek. No, she didn't mention any of that. She wouldn't. Silence stretched between us like a rubber band pulled too tight. He finally let out a breath. Why would she lie about that? Because saying her sister paid makes the story messier, I said. Makes the fairy tale crack. He nodded slowly, then walked out without another word. That same night, several miles away at Gypsy and Logan's place, Wanda was sitting at the kitchen table, flipping through a stack of wedding vendor contracts when something caught her eye. A stray envelope had gotten tucked between catering invoices. She opened it absent-mindedly, expecting a bill. But it wasn't a bill. It was a payment schedule. Tuition, Arizona state law, account, Gypsy Delaney. Payer, Lynn Delaney. Her brows furrowed. She flipped the page. 3 years' worth of transactions, regular, consistent, always from Lynn. Her fingers froze mid-turn. She reread it, slower this time, then sat back in her chair. The timeline didn't lie, and neither did bank records. By morning, it had already traveled like wildfire through the hidden channels families used to talk without ever admitting they were talking. I knew something had shifted when Marla, Gypsy's maid of honor, unfollowed me on Instagram. But the real signal came when Logan came back. Not to the bar this time, but to my apartment just after sunset. I opened the door, already guessing why he was there. She said you insisted, he started without greeting. That she didn't ask for help, that you wanted to feel needed. I crossed my arms. That's a story people tell when they don't want to admit how much they took. He looked tired. She let me believe you were bitter, dramatic, petty, said you were obsessed with looking like the hero. And yet, I said softly, she let me foot the bill. Quietly. For 3 years. He nodded, shame creeping into his voice. She never even told me your last name was on those loan forms. I didn't say, you should have asked. I didn't need to. The air between us said it for me. After he left, I returned to my desk. My hands moved before my brain even caught up. Subject: cease misuse of identity and property body. To Gypsy Delaney, Darlene Delaney. This message serves as a formal warning. Any continued reference to my name, address, business, or property for the purpose of social appearances, representation, or assumption will be considered intentional misrepresentation and may result in legal consequences. This includes, but is not limited to, claiming residency at 1208 Tonto Pass, referencing financial support not authorized for public disclosure, suggesting business affiliations with Ember Bar. I trust this will be the last time I need to address this matter informally. Sincerely, Lynn Callahan, owner and operator, Ember Bar. I reread it, adjusted nothing, then hit send. Let the fallout happen wherever it wanted. I'd spent too many years trying to soften the edges, hoping my silence would earn me peace. But silence had bought me a front row seat to my own erasure. Not anymore. If they wanted a war of whispers, I was ready to speak clearly. No rage, no tears, just the truth. And the truth, once out, has a way of cutting deeper than any scream. The masks were off now, and I wasn't the one left exposed. I didn't sleep that night. I didn't even try. Instead, I sat at my kitchen table, fingers wrapped around a chipped mug of lukewarm coffee, scrolling through old emails, invoices, statements, anything that showed just how many lines they'd crossed. By morning, the soft hum of my laptop was the only sound in the apartment, the sunrise cutting a harsh orange line through the blinds. At 9 a.m. sharp, I walked into my lawyer's office. Deborah knew me well enough not to waste time on small talk. She took one look at my face and asked, "Ready to make it official?" I nodded. "No more informal warnings. I want to rescind all implied access, permanently." She raised an eyebrow, then motioned to her assistant. "Get the property revocation forms and draft a cease and desist." Within 20 minutes, we had 3 identical envelopes, each addressed and ready: Gypsy Delaney, Darlene Delaney, Wanda Harrison. Inside, the letter was crystal clear. No access, no occupation, no use of likeness, address, or implication of connection. Everything was covered, from the house to my name. I signed the bottom with a sense of finality I hadn't known I needed. The copies were sealed and sent. That should have been enough. But it wasn't. Because 2 days later, I got a call from my bank. "Hi, Miss Callahan. We're calling to confirm a private loan application under your name. It triggered a verification because of mismatched contact information." I felt my stomach drop. "What loan?" I asked, already dreading the answer. "A $25,000 personal line of credit, digitally signed 3 months ago. But it was never finalized. The system flagged it when someone tried to reapply last night." I asked for a copy. When it arrived, I opened the PDF and stared at the signature. It wasn't mine. It was close, my name, my cursive, but the C in Callahan was off, the angle wrong, a forgery, Gypsy. She hadn't just manipulated the narrative, she'd manipulated my identity. My hand shook as I forwarded the document to Deborah. She called within minutes, already furious. "This is bank fraud. We'll press charges if you want to move forward." I didn't respond right away. I just kept reading the fake form, the way someone stares at a betrayal that's too intricate to be spontaneous. This took time. This took planning. And while I processed that truth, the internet started to burn. It began with a screenshot, a post on Reddit from someone who went to high school with Gypsy. The caption, "So grateful to my parents for gifting us our dream house # wedding bliss." The house was mine. The photo was recent. People started asking questions. One user dug deeper, found public property records, and posted the deed, with my name highlighted. Then someone tagged the Ember Bar account. I didn't reply. I didn't argue. Instead, I reposted the deed on my own profile and typed one line beneath it: "No lies live long." The post went viral. People started DMing me, some curious, some cruel, a few sympathetic. But I didn't care about sympathy. I cared about facts. And the facts were finally speaking louder than Gypsy ever had. The following week, wedding invitations began landing in inboxes and mailboxes across Scottsdale. Each one carried a small white insert card. "Please note the wedding venue has changed due to unforeseen circumstances." Translation? They'd lost the house. They could no longer fake their way into it. That evening, as I was closing up the bar, my phone buzzed. Wanda. I debated ignoring it, then picked up. "This is cruel," she snapped. "What you're doing to Gypsy, it's spiteful, vindictive." I didn't yell. I didn't curse. Instead, I said calmly, "Cruel was pretending I didn't exist while cashing checks from my account." She paused, then hung up. Good, because for the first time in years, I wasn't just reacting. I was setting the pace. They built a fantasy on my silence, and now I was answering with facts. No rage, no scream, Just a line they couldn't step over anymore. They took my kindness for silence, so I answered with signatures instead of screams. The fallout didn't wait for a quiet hour. It crashed through the doors of my bar 10 minutes after the Friday rush began. I was behind the counter, pouring a rye on the rocks for a regular, when the door slammed open. I didn't have to turn around to know who it was. The tension in the room shifted. Conversation stalled. The clink of glasses froze midair. Gypsy's heels clicked across the floor like gunshots. "You ruined everything," she screamed. She was red-faced, mascara smudged and shaking with fury. Her voice sliced through the room, leaving a heavy silence in its wake. I set the drink down gently and walked out from behind the bar, wiping my hands on a towel. "You want to do this here?" I asked, my voice low but steady. "You embarrassed me online, got me kicked out of my own venue. Logan won't even look at me anymore." I didn't flinch. "You embarrassed yourself. I just stopped covering for you." Her mouth twisted. "You always had to be the martyr, didn't you?" "No," I said. "I was just the one paying the bills while you played make-believe." Her eyes darted to the crowd watching. "You're a bitter bartender. That's all you'll ever be." "And yet I own the house you tried to steal," I replied coolly. "Guess being just a bartender comes with perks." A few chuckles rippled through the room. She spun around and stormed out, but not before hurling one last dig. "You'll die alone, Lynn." I didn't respond. She wanted chaos, a breakdown, a scene. I gave her boundaries. Later that night, just as I was locking up, I saw a shadow at my gate. Darlene, waiting like a ghost from a past I no longer served. She wore a trench coat too heavy for the evening heat, arms crossed like she was holding herself together. "Can we talk?" she asked. I didn't move to open the gate. "You're already here." She stepped closer to the bars. "I just wanted the family to look good, for once." I tilted my head. "You mean you wanted the illusion of family to look good?" "Lynn," she whispered, "you turned Logan against her. You've destroyed her." "No," I said. "He saw the truth. I just stopped hiding it for you." She blinked, searching for another excuse, another lie, something to put the weight back on my shoulders. But I had nothing left to carry for her. "I never wanted it to come to this," she murmured. "And yet," I replied, "here we are." She left without another word. The next morning, Scottsdale's social media pages exploded. Photos from Wanda's last-minute bridal brunch were everywhere. A half-empty venue, a fake floral arch, a distant cousin mid-toast standing with a shaky champagne flute and saying, "You should be ashamed, Gypsy. All of you." The post went viral. Hashtags followed. #fakebride, #barsistertruth, #thankslynn. I didn't share a word, didn't repost a thing. But my bar's Yelp page got 20 new 5-star reviews in 2 hours. By the time Sunday rolled around, Ember was packed. Not for the drinks, though those helped, but because people had started seeing the full picture. The woman they tried to write out was the one holding it all together. That evening, I sat on my porch with a glass of red and my laptop. Notifications pinged nonstop, but I ignored them. Instead, I opened a spreadsheet titled Expansion 2025, a new patio, extended hours, maybe even live music on weekends. Then, a text from Logan popped up. "If you need an investor, I'm in. No strings, just respect." I didn't respond immediately. I just stared at it, letting the quiet of my home wrap around me. It wasn't about revenge anymore. It was about rebuilding. Louder, stronger, clearer. They thought I'd break, but I just rebuilt. Louder. The cursor blinked beneath Logan's message, slow and steady like a soft pulse. I let it sit there for a while, untouched. No pressure, no expectations. Just a quiet moment of something I hadn't felt from him, or really anyone, in a long time. Respect. Not performative, not conditional. Just quiet, unforced, and real. 3 days before the wedding, everything around me felt like it was holding its breath. The sky, heavy with unspilled rain, hung low over the city. Inside, that same pressure mirrored itself in people's silences, in the way conversations faltered when I entered a room, in group chats that had once lit up my phone, but now sat in silence, unread and unfinished. The hush didn't bother me anymore. I had outgrown needing noise. That morning, instead of a text, Logan knocked on the back door of the bar. He knew better than to use the front. I opened it and stepped aside without a word. The familiarity of it struck me. How many times had we done this before? Not dramatic entrances, not grand declarations, just showing up. He looked worn, not broken, not confused, just tired, like someone who'd finally run out of the energy to keep carrying a lie. "I canceled the wedding," he said. His voice didn't shake. I didn't blink, didn't flinch. I just looked at him and waited. "She lied," he continued, "about everything, her job, the tuition debt, the house she said her aunt left her, even the savings she told me we had. Wanda tried to cover it up, said it would blow over, that if we had a beautiful wedding, everything else would fall into place." He exhaled like it had taken him a week to find the courage for that breath. "I thought you were bitter," he added. "I told myself that you were angry and couldn't let go of the past, but you were just honest. That's the part I didn't want to look at." I let his words land, not pushing them away but not clinging to them either. Then I nodded, once. "I loved who I thought she was," he said, voice low. "But you never pretended to be anyone but yourself. And you," I said, "finally stopped pretending you didn't know the difference." He didn't try to explain further. Didn't reach for my hand. Didn't stay longer than he needed to. Just said, "I'm sorry," and left. And that was enough. Later that day, my phone buzzed. "Darlene, Gypsy won't leave the bed, says she's lost everything." I typed out a reply. She threw everything away. Then I sat there staring at it. My thumb hovered over send, but instead, I hit delete. Some things didn't need to be said. Not anymore. I set the phone down face first on the counter, walked across the kitchen to the old wooden shelf beneath the window. There, framed in a cheap metal border, was a photo, me and Gypsy, kids in matching overalls, mud-streaked and wild from the creek behind Grandma's house. That day, we were untouchable. Before secrets, before betrayal. I took the frame down gently and placed it in a drawer. No ceremony, no sentiment, just a quiet decision. Some memories need time in the dark to stop hurting. Maybe one day they'd make sense. Or maybe they wouldn't. Either way, they didn't belong on display anymore. By early evening, Logan and I crossed paths again. Not in a bar, not in a bedroom, in my lawyer's office. This wasn't closure. It wasn't reconciliation. It was business. He sat across from me as we reviewed the paperwork. Expansion plans for the bar, new patio seating, acoustic Sundays, a kitchen remodel we'd been planning back when everything still felt like potential. He signed the agreement without hesitation and slid it across the table. "You believed in her," I said. "I don't blame you for that." He looked at me then, not with apology, but something closer to clarity. "I believe in you now. That matters more." There was no dramatic moment, no hug, no tension, just two people finally seeing each other without the fog of illusion. That night, I climbed up to the rooftop of Ember Bar. The sun was slipping low, painting the edges of the city gold. The breeze carried the first real chill of the season, the kind that signals the end of a long, exhausting summer. I leaned on the railing, glass of water in hand, and watched as the city lights flickered on one by one. Down on the streets, the world kept moving. No one knew what the day had meant to me, and that was okay. For years, I'd convinced myself that peace would come the moment I was welcomed back into the rooms I'd been pushed out of. That one day, they'd understand me, accept me, let me back in. But standing there, the city stretching out before me, I realized peace wasn't about being let back in. It was about not needing those rooms at all. Let them rewrite their stories. I wasn't in them anymore. I was writing my own. And no, I hadn't burned it all down. I'd just walked away and let the fire speak for itself. 2 weeks had passed since the wedding that wasn't. There were no phone calls, no backhanded texts, no cryptic family group chats lighting up with passive-aggressive quotes. Just silence, and it was the kindest thing they'd ever given me. The day Gypsy was supposed to become Mrs. Logan Callahan came and went like any other Saturday. I spent it restocking bottles, scribbling cocktail ideas in my notebook, and serving drinks to a packed house that didn't care about curated guest lists or Instagram-worthy vows. They cared about laughing, about the right pour, about being seen. No one asked about her. No one whispered around me like they used to. It was like the universe had quietly decided to match my energy. No more performing, no more pretending. The truth had done its job. And now, I had mine. Krista dropped by the next morning with fresh bagels and the kind of hug that doesn't ask for anything in return. "She's back with your mom," she said over coffee. "Haven't seen either of them at the store in days." I just nodded. No witty reply, no biting remark. Apparently, Russell had stepped back from all things Callahan. Wanda had turned her focus toward local charity events, still smiling, still networking, still pretending her legacy wasn't unraveling thread by thread. The house sat empty. Sometimes I drove by it on my way to the supplier. The yard was overgrown, the shutters half closed. It looked like a forgotten stage after the actors had gone home, and that suited me just fine. A week later, we hosted brunch on the new patio. Just a few tables, mismatched chairs, string lights from Etsy I'd strung up myself. Krista came again, this time with her partner and their twins. A couple of my cousins showed up too, the ones who had quietly distanced themselves from the drama, but never from me. Even Logan dropped by, not with flowers or apologies, but with a signed vendor contract and a fresh batch of coffee beans from a roaster downtown. We toasted with black coffee and scrambled eggs. It wasn't glamorous. It was better. Real. Simple. The kind of morning you don't post about but remember anyway. "You okay?" Krista asked me once the tables were cleared and the laughter died down. "I'm good," I said, and meant it. She smiled. "You look it." That night, after everyone had left and the patio lights were turned off, I went upstairs to my apartment. There was a box in my closet I hadn't touched in years. It held old photos, drawings, notes passed between us in middle school, a charm bracelet we both wore until Gypsy traded hers for something more adult. I didn't open each item. I didn't cry. I just placed one more thing in it. The wedding invitation, the one that never had my name on it. Then I closed the lid, slid it to the top shelf, and left it there. I didn't do it out of anger. I did it to remember. Because forgetting isn't healing, it's erasing. And I wasn't erasing anything anymore. Not myself. Not the past. Just placing it where it belongs. Behind me. I didn't need revenge. I just needed to remember who I was. And this time, I'm not forgetting. Sometimes, standing up for yourself doesn't look like a fight. It looks like silence, boundaries, walking away, without needing anyone to chase you. I used to think family meant unconditional love, that no matter how much I was overlooked, if I just kept showing up, kept giving, kept sacrificing, maybe one day they'd see me. But here's what I've learned. You don't have to burn yourself down to keep someone else's version of family warm. You are allowed to be the one who says enough. You are allowed to protect what you've built, even if it means letting go of people you thought would always be there. And to anyone watching this who's ever been erased, used, or made to feel small, you are not invisible. You are not overreacting. You are not just a bartender or just anything. You are the author of your own story. And sometimes the bravest thing you can do is simply to stop apologizing for writing it your way. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Have you ever walked away from a relationship or a situation that no longer saw your worth? Do you believe cutting ties can be an act of love for yourself? Let's open up in the comments. Share your story, your thoughts, or even just where you're watching from. If this video spoke to you, type 1 in the comments to let me know it reached you. If it didn't, I want to hear that too. Tell me why. It helps us grow. And if you're comfortable, drop your city or state. I'd love to see where you're tuning in from. And hey, if this kind of story resonates with you, if you believe in truth, family, and healing, don't forget to subscribe to this channel for more real, raw stories that hit home. Thanks for watching.
Hey there, I'm Christina, a 32-year-old housewife just trying to keep everything from falling apart. Right now, I'm in the kitchen, mixing batter for Ethan's birthday cake when my little whirlwind bursts in. "Mommy, can Can I lick the spoon? I chuckle, handing it over. Sure, sweetie, but just a little, okay. Ethan happily licks the spoon, and just then, I hear the front door creak open. Mark, my husband, walks in, looking exhausted from work. Hey, hun. How was your day? I ask. Same old, he says, surveying the scene. What's all this? I'm getting ready for Ethan's birthday party this weekend, I reply. I thought we could invite a few of his preschool friends. Nothing too big. Mark nods, but there's a flicker of hesitation in his eyes. Sounds great, but have you talked to Mom about it? Ah, yes, Vivian. My mother-in-law, who moved in after Mark's dad passed away. I try to be understanding, I really do, but sometimes. I was hoping we could surprise her, I say, trying to keep my tone light. And just like that, speak of the devil, Vivian glides into the kitchen. Surprise me with what, dear? I force a smile. We were just talking about Ethan's birthday this weekend. Just a small get-together with a few friends. Vivian's lips curve into that almost smile, the kind that never reaches her eyes. Oh, but didn't I mention my plans for that weekend? My heart skips a beat. Plans? Yes, dear, my high school reunion. I've decided to host it here. Isn't that exciting? I feel the punch to my gut. But Ethan's birthday. Oh, I'm sure he won't mind postponing it. After all, it's just a children's party, darling. This reunion is very important to me. I look over to Mark, silently pleading for support. But he's suddenly very engrossed in his phone. Typical. My phone buzzes, and it's a text from Rachel, my best friend. Still on for coffee tomorrow? I text back, absolutely. I need it more than ever. I glance out the window and spot Tom, Mark's childhood friend, walking past. Our eyes meet for a moment, and there's something in his gaze, concerned maybe? Suspicion? I can't be sure. I shake it off and turn back to Vivian, who's now rattling off a long list of what she'll need for her reunion. As I listen, I can't help but wonder, how did my life end up like this? And more importantly, how much longer can I keep pretending to be the perfect daughter-in-law before something finally breaks? Little did I know, that breaking point was closer than I thought. The next morning, after Vivian dropped her reunion bombshell, I'm up early, scrubbing the kitchen floor. My hands are raw, but it's nothing compared to the achy deep inside. Christina dear, Vivian's saccharine voice makes me cringe. I've made a list of tasks to be done before the reunion. And don't forget to cancel Ethan's little party. We can't have children running around during my event. I rise slowly, my back protesting. But Vivian, it's his birthday. We can't just. Now, she interrupts. He's too young to even remember. Mark steps in, looking as uncomfortable as ever. Honey, maybe we could postpone Ethan's party, just this once. I feel like I'm drowning. But Christina, Vivian cuts in, her voice sharp. Don't be selfish. This is important to me. You wouldn't want to ruin my special day, would you? Defeated, I nod. As soon as she and Mark leave, I call Ethan's friends' parents to cancel the party, fighting back the lump in my throat. Later, I meet Rachel at our favorite coffee shop. One look at my face and she knows something's wrong. Spill it, girl. What's going on? I tell her everything, barely holding back tears. Rachel's eyes narrow. That woman is bad news, Chris. Something's not right here. I'm going to do some digging. As we're leaving, we bump into Tom. He looks concerned. Hey, Christina. Everything okay? I couldn't help overhearing. This reunion of Vivian's, it doesn't add up. I went to school with her, and I don't remember any plans for a reunion. A glimmer of hope flickers inside me. Really? That's interesting. Back home, I'm helping Ethan with his homework when Vivian bustles in. Christina, I need you to move Ethan's toys from the living room. They're an eyesore. But Grandma, Ethan pipes up. That's where I play with my friends. At my party. Vivian laughs, a cold, harsh sound that sends a chill down my spine. Oh, sweetie, there won't be any party. Grown-up things are more important than silly children's games. I watch in horror as Ethan's little face crumples. He runs from the room, sobbing. Ethan, wait. I call, but Vivian waves me off. Let him go. He needs to learn the world doesn't revolve around him. No, Vivian, I say, my voice trembling with anger. You need to learn that this family doesn't revolve around you. This ends now. Her eyes widen in shock, but I don't wait for her response. I rush after Ethan. As I comfort my son, I hear Vivian on the phone with Mark, undoubtedly spinning her version of events. But this time, I don't care. I've reached my breaking point, and there's no going back. It's time to stand up for my family, no matter the cost. Little did I know, the storm brewing would change everything. But in that moment, holding my crying son, I knew one thing for sure. I was done being silent. The day after my confrontation with Vivian, I'm on a mission. I've invited Rachel and Tom over while Vivian's out running errands for her reunion. Guys, I can't take it anymore. I say, my voice shaking. I need your help. Rachel places a hand on my arm. We're here for you, Chris. What do you need? I take a deep breath. I need to know who Vivian really is. Something's not right, and I'm done being manipulated. Tom nods, his expression serious. I've been doing some digging, Christina. Vivian never went to the high school she claims. I checked the yearbooks. She's not in any of them. My jaw drops. What? But why would she lie about that? Rachel chimes in, her eyes gleaming with determination. I might have an answer. I have a friend in the financial sector. She did some discreet checking. Vivian has a history of financial fraud. Multiple cases. But she's always managed to slip away before facing charges. The ground feels like it's shifting beneath me. Oh my God. Mark's father, he was wealthy, wasn't he? Do you think she targeted him? Tom finishes the thought for me. It's possible. Suddenly, a memory clicks into place. Wait here, I say, rushing to the attic. I return with a dusty box. These are Mark's dad's old things. I've never gone through them, but maybe. We spend the next hour sifting through papers. Finally, I find it, a stack of old letters. Guys, listen to this, I say, reading aloud. Vivian, I know what you're trying to do. I won't let you manipulate my son or take what belongs to him. This ends now. It's from Mark's dad, dated just a week before he died. Rachel's eyes widen. Chris, this is huge. But we need more. Is there anyone else who might know about Vivian's past? I think hard. Wait, Mark has an estranged Aunt Linda. She and Vivian never got along. Maybe she knows something. Tom's already on his phone. I can find her contact info. But Christina, what's your plan? I stand up, feeling more determined than I have in years. We let Vivian have her reunion. But it won't be the one she's expecting. We're going to expose her, once and for all. Over the next few days, we work tirelessly. I reach out to Linda, who is more than happy to help. She promises to come to the reunion with proof of Vivian's deceptions. The day of the reunion arrives, and as I help Vivian set up, I catch sight of Ethan watching us. His little face still confused and hurt. It strengthens my resolve. Everything looks perfect, Vivian. I say, my voice sickly sweet. Your guests will be so impressed. Of course they will, she replies smugly. Now make yourself scarce when they arrive. I don't want you embarrassing me. I nod meekly, but inside, I'm ready. But inside, I'm steeling myself. As the doorbell rings and the first guests arrive, I exchange a knowing look with Rachel and Tom, who are disguised as caterers. The stage is set. Vivian's web of lies is about to come crashing down, and I'll be damned if I let her hurt my family ever again. I watch as she greets her old classmates with fake enthusiasm. But I know the truth is finally about to surface. Let the real reunion begin. The reunion is in full swing, and Vivian is holding court in the living room, regaling her guests with tales of her high school glory days. I'm playing the perfect hostess, all smiles and politeness, but inside, I'm a bundle of nerves. Rachel sidles up to me, still in her caterer disguise. You ready for this? She whispers. I nod, taking a deep breath. As ready as I'll ever be. Just then, the doorbell rings again. I open it to find Aunt Linda, Mark's estranged aunt, standing there with a look of fierce determination on her face. Hello, Christina, she says. I believe you're expecting me. As Linda enters, Vivian's face turns ashen. What are you doing here? She stammers, her voice trembling. Linda's voice is sharp and steady. I'm here to set the record straight, Vivian, or should I say, Patricia Moulin. A collective gasp echoes through the room. Vivian stutters. I don't know what you're talking about. Linda pulls out a folder and holds it up. I have documents proving your real identity, your history of fraud, and how you manipulated my brother's will to cut out his own son. The room erupts into chaos. Guests murmur angrily, some confused, others shocked. Suddenly, a man steps forward, a look of grim determination on his face. Patricia Mullen, he says, I've been looking for you for years. I'm Detective Johnson, and you're under arrest for multiple counts of elder fraud. Vivian, or Patricia, whoever she really is, looks around wildly, her face pale with fear. This is ridiculous. Mark, tell them they're wrong. Mark, who has been watching in stunned silence, finally speaks up, his voice tight with emotion. Is it true? Did you lie to us this whole time? Did you hurt my father? Vivian's silence is all the answer he needs. As Detective Johnson begins reading her rights, Mark turns to me, remorse heavy in his eyes. Christina, I'm so sorry. I should have believed you. Can you ever forgive me? I take his hand, feeling a weight lift off my shoulders. We'll work through this together. As Vivian is led away, the reunion dissolves into a flurry of shocked conversations and statements. In the midst of it all, I feel a tug on my dress. It's Ethan, his big eyes looking up at me. Mommy, is the bad lady gone? Can I have my party now? I scoop him up into my arms, hugging him tightly. Yes, sweetie, the bad lady is gone. And we're going to have the best party ever. In the weeks that follow, our lives transform. We sell the house, too full of bitter memories, and find a cozy new place to call home. Mark and I begin rebuilding our relationship, stronger and more honest than it's ever been. And true to my word, we throw Ethan the most amazing belated birthday party with Rachel and Tom by my side. As I watch the joy on my son's face, I can't help but reflect on how far we've come. From silent suffering to finding my voice, from being manipulated to standing up for my family. It's been a hell of a journey, but looking at Ethan's smile, I know it was worth every moment. As for Vivian, or Patricia, last I heard, she's facing a long stint in prison. But that's her story now. Ours is just beginning, and it's looking brighter than ever. Now I have a question for you. If you were in my shoes, would you have forgiven Mark for his blindness to Vivian's manipulation, or would you have ended the relationship? Think about the years of silent suffering and the impact on Ethan. Where do you draw the line between family loyalty and self-respect? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your perspective might help someone in a similar situation. If you enjoyed this story of triumph over toxicity, please hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe for more real-life drama and stories of personal growth. Your support means the world to us. Hey there, I'm Sarah Thompson, 28 years old, living my best life in the Windy City and killing it as a marketing executive. Life was smooth, until my brother Mark dropped a bomb at our family BBQ. We're having a baby, he announced, beaming with pride, his arm around his wife Melissa. Everyone was ecstatic, hugging, crying, the whole deal. Me, I was genuinely happy for them. I mean, I'm going to be an aunt. But little did I know, that was the start of my personal nightmare. It began innocently enough. Melissa started talking nonstop about organic foods and non-GMO everything. I chalked it up to new mom jitters, but then she eyed my burger like it was poison. Sarah, don't you think you should set a better example? Maybe try a salad? She smiled sweetly, but Mark's look said it all. Next thing I know, Melissa's nitpicking every part of my life. My diet, my weekend plans, even my work hours. Family should come first, Sarah. How can you support us if you're always at the office or out with friends? She'd say. I was stunned. Since when did my life become a group project? But the real kicker, my parents were nodding along like Melissa was some kind of oracle. Honey, Melissa's just trying to look out for the baby, my mom chimed in. Dad added, it's about family unity, Sarah. You understand, right? Standing there, I felt like I was in some twisted episode of The Twilight Zone. But for the sake of peace, I smiled and nodded. Sure, I'll try to make some changes. Thank God for my best friend Alex. Over coffee, I vented everything. Sarah, this is insane. You can't let them run your life like this, she exclaimed, giving me her classic "you're being an idiot" look. I sighed, stirring my latte. I know, but it's family. I'm just trying to be supportive. There's supportive, and then there's being a doormat, girl. You're towing the line. Alex shot back. She was right, of course. But what could I do? I couldn't just walk away from my family. Meanwhile, at work, there was Jake, a total dreamboat, smart and funny, and we clicked instantly. We started grabbing lunch together. and every time his eyes crinkled when he laughed, my heart did a little flip. "Sarah, there's this great new restaurant opening Friday," he said one day, flashing that charming smile. "Want to check it out?" My heart soared, but then I heard Melissa's voice echoing in my head. "Family gang night on Friday, Sarah. Don't forget." I hesitated, hating myself. I've got this family thing. Rain check. Jake looked disappointed but smiled anyway. "Sure, no problem. Family first, right?" As I watched him walk away, I couldn't shake the feeling that something important was slipping through my fingers. A month had passed since Melissa's pregnancy announcement, and I swear she'd become possessed. She'd gone from casually pestering me to full-on micromanaging my life. "Sarah, you need to cut back on your work hours," she insisted one morning. "It's not good for the baby to be around all that stress." I nearly choked on my coffee. "Excuse me? How is my job affecting your baby?" Melissa just gave me a condescending look. "We're family now. Your negative energy affects us all." I bit my tongue, but inside I was seething. Things only got worse when I overheard her on the phone with Aunt Carol. "I'm just so worried about Sarah," she said, her voice dripping with concern. "You know how she is, always out partying and drinking. It's not a good influence on the baby." I was floored. I hadn't set foot in a club for months, thanks to her constant guilt tripping. The baby shower was the final straw. I spent weeks planning it, trying to be the perfect sister-in-law. But apparently, nothing was good enough for Queen Melissa. "Oh, Sarah, you got soy-based dip. You know I'm avoiding soy," she complained. "And these decorations, well, I suppose you did your best." I was about to snap, but Mom jumped in. "Sarah, honey, maybe you should have checked with Melissa first. It's her special day after all." That's when I lost it. Her special day? I've bent over backwards trying to make her happy, and nothing is ever good enough. I shouted. The room went silent. Melissa's lip quivered, and suddenly, everyone was comforting her. "How could you upset her like that?" Mark hissed. "Can't you see how fragile she is?" I stormed out, feeling like I was losing my mind. Was I really the bad guy here? The next day, Jake found me hiding in the break room at work, eyes red from crying. "Sarah, what's going on?" he asked softly, his hand resting gently on mine. And just like that, everything poured out. To my surprise, Jake listened without judgment, his touch comforting. "Sarah, this isn't right, and you know that." I nodded, feeling a weight lift off my shoulders. From then on, Jake became my secret escape. We'd have lunch, talk for hours, and for a while, I could forget about the chaos at home. Meanwhile, Alex was on a mission. "Sarah, something doesn't add up with Melissa," she said one day. "I've been digging, and her story's full of holes." At first, I was skeptical, but then I started noticing things. Melissa's pregnancy symptoms seemed to come and go, conveniently. One day, she'd be too nauseous to move. The next, she'd be scarfing down sushi. "Isn't raw fish bad for the baby?" I asked, trying to sound innocent. Melissa shot me a glare. "Mind your own business, Sarah. Every pregnancy is different." That's when the real bombshell dropped. I bumped into Lisa, one of Melissa's former coworkers, at the grocery store. "Oh, Sarah, how are you handling Melissa's situation?" Lisa asked, her tone serious. I frowned. "You mean the pregnancy?" Lisa's eyes widened. "Oh, honey, is that what she's telling you?" Look, I shouldn't say anything, but this isn't the first time Melissa's pulled something like this. She has a history of, well, creative storytelling to get what she wants. My head spun. Could it be true? Was Melissa faking a whole thing? As I stood there, the pieces of the puzzle started to fall into place. One thing was clear. It was time to stop playing nice. Melissa had been manipulating us all, and someone needed to call her bluff. But how could I expose her without tearing my family apart? After my conversation with Lisa, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was very wrong. I decided to confront Melissa, no matter the consequences. I cornered her at our next family dinner. "Melissa, we need to talk," I said firmly. "Your behavior has been controlling and manipulative, and I'm done with it." Her eyes narrowed. "Excuse me, I'm just looking out for this family, unlike some people." By spreading lies? By trying to control my life? I snapped back. Melissa's face twisted in anger. "How dare you? After everything I've done for this family?" Our shouting match drew the attention of everyone at the table. To my surprise, Aunt Carol spoke up. Melissa dear, Sarah might have a point. You have been a bit demanding lately, Aunt Carol said gently. For a brief moment, I saw panic flash across Melissa's face. But then she burst into tears. I can't believe you're all ganging up on me. Don't you care about the baby? She sobbed. Just like that, the tide turned. My parents rushed to comfort her, while Mark shot daggers at me. Sarah, how could you? He hissed, attacking a pregnant woman. I think you should leave. I stood there stunned as my family turned their backs on me, but my mother's words cut the deepest. Until you're ready to apologize to Melissa, maybe it's best if you don't come around for a while, she said coldly. Devastated, I found myself at Jake's place that night, sobbing into his shoulder. Alex arrived shortly after, armed with a folder of documents. Sarah, you're not going to believe this, she said, her voice grave. I've been digging into Melissa's past. She's done this before. Multiple times. Alex laid out a trail of evidence. Fake pregnancies, fraudulent schemes, manipulated relationships. My head was spinning. But how could she fool everyone? The doctors, the tests. I asked, still trying to process it all. She's good, Sarah, really good. But this time, she slipped up, Alex explained. I felt sick. What do I do? If I expose her, I could lose my family forever. Jake took my hand, his voice gentle but firm. Sarah, you've already lost them. They chose her over you. It's time you chose yourself. His words hit me like a brick. He was right. I've been so focused on keeping the peace that I completely lost sight of my own self-worth. You're right, I said quietly, but how do we prove it? They'll never believe me without solid evidence. Jake's eyes lit up with a plan. What if we catch her in the act? Record your conversations. Gather more proof. It felt sneaky, but I was out of options. I nodded, determination replacing my doubt. Okay, let's do it, but we need to be smart. Melissa is crafty, and one wrong move could ruin everything. Over the next few weeks, I played my part perfectly. I apologized to Melissa, pretended to fall back in line, and kept my phone recording during every interaction. Oh, Melissa, I'm so excited for the baby. When's your next ultrasound? I'd love to come, I said with a smile. Actually, the doctor says too many people stress the baby. It's best if I go alone, she replied, her voice tight. Gotcha. I also accidentally ran into more of Melissa's old acquaintances, each one revealing more of her shady past. It was exhausting, living this double life, but every time I felt like wavering, I remembered how it felt to be cast aside by my own family. That kept me going. Finally, after a month of gathering evidence, I had everything I needed. Text messages, voice recordings, witness statements, a complete picture of Melissa's deception. As I sat with Jake and Alex, reviewing all the evidence, a wave of mixed emotions hit me: relief, anger, sadness, and fear. This is it, I said, my voice shaking. Once I do this, there's no going back. My family might never forgive me. Jake squeezed my hand, his eyes full of understanding. They might not. But you'll have your life back, your self-respect, and us. We're not going anywhere, Jake said firmly. Alex nodded. We've got your back, Sarah. All the way. Taking a deep breath, I steeled myself for what was to come. It was time to unravel Melissa's web of lies once and for all. Whatever happened next, I knew one thing for sure. I was done being a doormat. It was time to stand up and fight for myself. I gathered everyone at my parents' house, my heart pounding. This was it, the moment of truth. I know you all think I'm jealous or selfish. I began, my voice steady. But there's something you need to see. I laid everything out. The recordings, the documents, the testimonies. Melissa's face went pale as I played a recording of her admitting the pregnancy was fake. That's not me, she stammered. She's manipulating the audio. Mark jumped to her defense. Sarah, this is low, even for you. But as the evidence mounted, doubt crept into his eyes. Then I pulled out the clincher, medical records proving Melissa had her tubes tied years ago. It's all lies. Melissa shrieked, but her act was crumbling fast. Mom's voice trembled. Melissa, is this true? Have you been lying to us all this time? Melissa's eyes darted around the room, panic setting in. Realizing she was cornered, she made a break for the door. But Jake was faster, blocking her exit. Not so fast, he said, his tone firm. There's more. I revealed the final bombshell. Melissa was already married and wanted for fraud in Texas. The room erupted into chaos. "You're under arrest," a voice boomed as two officers stepped into the room. Alex had tipped them off. As they cuffed Melissa, the gravity of the situation hit everyone. Mom broke down crying. Dad looked utterly shocked. And Mark, he just stared at Melissa, betrayal written all over his face. In the aftermath, rebuilding wasn't easy. Trust had been shattered, and wounds ran deep. I set clear boundaries with my family, making it clear that their past behavior wasn't acceptable. "I love you," I told him firmly, "but I won't be disrespected or manipulated again." Months passed, and I threw myself into my career, excelling like never before. Jake was my rock through it all, and our relationship only grew stronger. 1 year later, I stood in front of a mirror, admiring my engagement ring. Jake and I were planning our wedding, surrounded by true friends who had stood by us. My phone buzzed with a news alert. Melissa had been convicted and was facing years in prison for her frauds. I felt a mix of emotions, relief, vindication, and a twinge of sadness for what could have been. My relationship with my family had become cordial but distant. They were still grappling with their mistakes, and I was giving them space to do so. As I sipped my morning coffee, looking out at the Chicago skyline, I reflected on how far I had come. The old Sarah would have kept quiet, sacrificing her happiness for family peace. But I'd learned that real family, whether by blood or by choice, lifts you up, not tears you down. I was stronger now, wiser, surrounded by people who truly cared about me. The journey had been painful, but I wouldn't change it. It had led me to this moment where I finally felt free to be myself. A text from Jake popped up. "Ready for our lunch date, future Mrs. Thompson." I smiled, grabbing my coat. The future was bright, and this time, I was in control of my own story. No more letting others dictate my life or my worth. If you were in my shoes, would you have exposed Melissa's lies earlier, even if it meant potentially destroying your family relationships? Or would you have stayed quiet to keep the peace? Hey there, I'm Evelyn, a 22-year-old psychology major, about to graduate from college. I'm sitting in my dorm room, surrounded by piles of textbooks and half-empty coffee cups when my phone buzzes. It's my mom. "Evelyn, honey, just wanted to check in about your graduation plans. Your father and I are so excited." A smile, warmth filling me. "Thanks, Mom. I can't believe it's almost here. Is Tyler coming too?" "Of course. Your brother wouldn't miss it for the world. He's even made a glitter sign." I laugh, picturing my 16-year-old brother covered in glitter. Just then, my roommate Zoe bursts into the room, her arms overflowing with party supplies. "Evelyn, I got everything for the grad party. It's going to be epic." I say goodbye to my mom and turn to Zoe. "You're the best, Z. I don't know what I'd do without you." "Probably die of boredom," she grins. "Oh, by the way, any news on that internship at the counseling center?" I shake my head. "Not yet, but fingers crossed. It would be the perfect start to my career." As if on cue, my phone buzzes again. This time, it's my Aunt Meredith. I groan inwardly. "Evelyn, darling, I hope I'm not interrupting anything important." I force a smile, even though she can't see it. "Hi, Aunt Meredith. What's up?" "Well, I have a teensy favor to ask. You see, I've booked this fabulous spa weekend with the girls, but it's the same weekend as your, what was it again, graduation." I grit my teeth. "Yes, Aunt Meredith, my college graduation." Right. Well, I was hoping you could watch Emma and Liam for me. They adore you, you know." My jaw drops. Is she really asking me to miss my own graduation to babysit? "Aunt Meredith, I can't. It's my graduation. My whole family is coming." "Oh, don't be so selfish, Avalon. Family helps family, and really, it's just a silly ceremony. You can always watch the video later." I'm about to respond when I hear chaos in the background. "Emma, Liam, stop fighting this instant." Aunt Meredith sighs dramatically. "See what I'm dealing with. I really need this break, Evelyn. Don't let me down." Before I can say another word, she hangs up. I stare at my phone, dumbfounded. As I try to focus back on my graduation plans, I can't help but wonder, how far is Aunt Meredith willing to go to get her way? And how much am I willing to sacrifice to keep the peace? Little did I know, this was just the start of a family drama that would soon turn my world upside down. The next morning, I'll wake up to a barrage of missed calls and texts from Aunt Meredith. Each message is more dramatic than the last. Evelyn, you're breaking your cousins' hearts. I've done so much for this family, and this is how you repay me? Your grandmother would be so disappointed in you. Zoe walks in, noticing the look on my face. Your aunt again. I nod, showing her the texts. Her eyes widen. Okay, this is getting out of hand. You need to talk to your parents. With a heavy sigh, I dial my mom's number. When I explain the situation, there's a long pause on the other end. Oh, honey, I'm so sorry you're dealing with this. Your Aunt Meredith has always been difficult. That's an understatement, I mutter, thinking back to my 16th birthday when Aunt Meredith borrowed the money my parents had saved for my first car to take Emma to a beauty pageant, or the time she convinced my dad to skip his 25th high school reunion to help Uncle Dave hang a TV. My mom's voice pulls me back to the present. Evelyn, listen to me. This is your graduation. You've worked so hard for this. Don't let anyone, not even family, take that away from you. Her words fill me with a renewed sense of strength. Thanks, Mom. I needed to hear that. Later that day, I meet up with my boyfriend, Ethan, for coffee. As soon as Ethan sees my face, his expression shifts. Evelyn, what's going on? You look stressed. I fill him in on the Aunt Meredith situation, and his face darkens with every detail. Babe, this isn't okay. She's manipulating you. You can't give in to this. I nod, but the guilt gnaws at me. I know, but she's family. What if she's right? What if I am being selfish? Standing up for yourself isn't selfish. It's necessary. Before I can respond, my phone rings. It's my cousin Jessica from my dad's side. Evelyn, I just wanted to check on you. I heard you were having some issues. I frown, confused. Issues? What do you mean? Jessica hesitates. Well, Aunt Meredith called. She said you were struggling with addiction and might not make it to graduation. She asked us to pray for you. My jaw drops. What? That's completely untrue. After I hang up, I'm shaking with anger. Ethan looks at me, concerned. Evelyn, you need to put a stop to this. She's spreading lies about you now. I nod, my emotions a whirlwind of hurt and rage. You're right, this ends now. That evening, I'm at my parents' house for dinner. The tension is thick. Even my usually carefree brother, Tyler, is unusually quiet. Finally, Dad breaks the silence. Evelyn, your mother told me about Meredith. I want you to know, we support you 100%. I smile, grateful. Thanks, Dad. I just don't know how to make her stop without causing a huge family rift. Mom sighs softly. Sometimes, honey, you can't avoid conflict when dealing with toxic people, even if they're family. As we clear the dinner dishes, I overhear Dad on the phone in the other room. His voice is low but tense. Dave, you need to control your wife. She's causing serious problems for Evelyn. What do you mean you don't know what I'm talking about? Curious, I edge closer to the door. I'm serious, Dave. This needs to stop. Hello? Dave? Dad comes out of the room, looking frustrated. He hung up on me. Just then, my phone buzzes again. It's a text from my cousin Emma. Mom and Dad are fighting about money again. Can I come stay with you? Before I can respond, I hear Aunt Meredith's voice through my phone's speaker. It's a recording. I got a call from my uncle, and it was obviously a mistake, Dave. We need that money. I don't care if you have to take it from the business account. My spa weekend is non-refundable. Meredith, we can't keep doing this. I hear Uncle Dave's strained voice reply. The business is already struggling. I quickly end the call, my mind racing. What kind of financial trouble are they in? And why does Aunt Meredith seem so unconcerned? As I stand there, trying to process everything, one thing becomes crystal clear. This isn't just about a spa weekend or babysitting. There's something bigger going on, and somehow I'm caught right in the middle of it all. The next day, I pull up to Aunt Meredith's house, my stomach in knots. She's waiting on the porch, all smiles. Evelyn, darling, I'm so glad you came. Come in, come in. I step inside, and the tension hits me immediately. Uncle Dave is nowhere to be seen. Where's Uncle Dave? I ask. Oh, working late again, Aunt Meredith says dismissively. Now, let's talk about your future. I frown. My future? Yes, dear. I've been thinking. Instead of that silly counseling job, why don't you come work for your uncle's company? We could really use your help. I'm stunned. Aunt Meredith, I've been working towards my counseling career for years. I can't just abandon that. Her smile fades and her face hardens. Evelyn, family helps family. We need you. Just then, my phone buzzes. It's a text from Zoe. You won't believe this. I was doing some digging and found out your aunt has been calling the places you applied to, giving them bad references. My blood runs cold. What? I text back. Are you sure? Positive. I have recordings. I hang up, my mind spinning. I look over at Aunt Meredith, who's watching me carefully, her eyes narrowed. Everything okay, dear? Before I can respond, Emma and Liam burst into the room, running up to hug me. Evelyn. Hey kiddos, how are you? Emma glances nervously at her mom before whispering, Can we talk to you alone? I lead them to their room, and as soon as the door closes, the floodgates open. Mom's never home, Liam blurts out, and when she is, she's always yelling at Dad about money. Emma nods. Dad sleeps in his office most nights. We heard him say the business is in trouble because of Mom's spending. My heart breaks for them. I hug them both tightly. I'm so sorry, guys. I had no idea. As I leave the house, my heart pounds in my chest. I can't believe what's unfolding. Driving away, I grab my phone and call my parents. Mom, Dad, we need to talk. It's about Aunt Meredith, and it's worse than we thought. I take a deep breath, steeling myself for what's to come. It's time to expose the truth, no matter the consequences. My graduation is happening, and no one, not even Aunt Meredith, is going to stop me from living my life on my own terms. Graduation day arrives, and I'm a bundle of nerves as I adjust my cap and gown. Skating the crowd, I feel a wave of relief. No sign of Aunt Meredith. Instead, I spot my parents and Tyler, their faces beaming with pride. As I walk across the stage to receive my diploma, I catch sight of Zoe and Ethan cheering loudly. Their support means the world to me, especially after everything we've been through. After the ceremony, as we're taking family photos, Dad pulls me aside. Evelyn, I need to tell you something. You were right about Meredith. The whole family knows now. My heart skips a beat. What happened? Dad sighs. Dave found out about the fraud. He left her and took the kids with him. The board of the family business voted to remove her completely. I'm stunned. It's a lot to process, but before I can respond, my phone rings. It's the counseling center, the one I've been dreaming of working for. Miss Thompson, we'd like to offer you a position. Your handling of your recent family situation showed remarkable ethics and resilience. I accept on the spot, my heart soaring. As I hang up, I catch my parents' questioning looks. I got the job, I announce, and we all burst into celebratory hugs. 6 months fly by in a whirlwind of new experiences. I'm thriving in my new role at the counseling center, and even better, I'm helping Emma and Liam adjust to their new life with Uncle Dave. It's not always easy, but seeing them smile more often makes it all worthwhile. Then one day, as I'm leaving work, I see her, Aunt Meredith. She's standing outside a discount store, looking worn and defeated. For a moment, our eyes meet. I see regret there, maybe even an unspoken apology. But it's too little too late. I hesitate for a second, a small part of me wanting to reach out, but then I remember all the pain she caused, the manipulation, the deceit. I turn and walk away, focused on the bright future ahead. As I drive to meet my family for dinner, I can't help but smile. Life isn't perfect, but it's mine. I've learned the hard way that sometimes the most toxic relationships come from family. But I've also learned that I have the strength to stand up for myself, to chase my dreams, and to build a life free from manipulation and drama. Pulling up to the restaurant, I see my parents, Tyler, Zoe, and Ethan waiting for me. This is my real family, the people who support me, challenge me, and love me unconditionally. As I join them, laughing and sharing stories, I know that I wouldn't have it any other way. That's the end of Evelyn's story. Now, I've got a question for you. Should Evelyn have given Aunt Meredith one last chance to make amends, or was cutting her out completely the right call? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Hey, I'm Sarah Thompson. I'm 28 years old, deep in the trenches of my PhD in biochemistry at Westbrook University. It's been a wild ride, especially considering where I came from. Growing up, we didn't have much. My parents worked themselves to the bone just to keep food on the table. But despite all that, they never stopped pushing me to dream big. I'm the first in my family to go to college, let alone aim for a PhD. It hasn't been easy, but now I'm so close to the finish line, I can almost taste it. 3 years ago, I married Tom. He's a software engineer, smart as a whip and usually pretty supportive. We met back in college, bonding over late-night study sessions and cheap takeout. Things were great until his mom, Patricia, entered the picture. And let me tell you, Patricia is something else. Imagine the most overbearing, manipulative person you know, then multiply that by 10. That's her. From day one, it's been clear she has it out for me. Nothing I do is ever good enough for her precious son. Sarah, don't you think Tom deserves a home-cooked meal after a long day at work? She'd say, knowing full well I'd just spent 14 hours in the lab. Trying to balance my PhD work with family life has felt like walking a tightrope while juggling flaming torches. Tom tries to understand, but sometimes it feels like we're speaking entirely different languages. Then things hit a breaking point. My PhD defense is coming up, the big one. The moment I've been working toward for years, with sleepless nights, missed holidays, the whole deal. And out of nowhere, Patricia drops a bombshell. I'm throwing a surprise party for Tom's 30th birthday. She announces, all smiles. Guess when she plans to throw this party? Yep, the same day as my defense. I try to explain, Patricia, I can't miss my defense. It's crucial for my career. But she just waves her hand dismissively. Oh, Sarah, surely you can reschedule. Family comes first, you know. I looked at Tom for backup, but he just stands there, silent, his eyes bouncing between us like he's watching a tennis match. Tom, can you please explain to your mother how important this is? I ask, desperate for support. He clears his throat and says, well, maybe we can figure something out. Mom, is there any way we can move the party? Patricia's face hardens. Absolutely not. I've already invited everyone. Sarah, if you really cared about this family, you'd make it work. It felt like a punch to the gut. Torn between my dreams and my marriage, I watched as the two people who should have had my back turned away instead. As Patricia rattled on about party favors and guest lists, the walls seemed to close in. My hands shook, my vision blurred. This was the moment I realized I was truly alone in this fight. I retreated to the bedroom, slamming the door behind me. Sitting on the edge of the bed, I buried my face in my hands. How did I end up here? And more importantly, how was I going to get out of this mess? The week leading up to my defense was hell. I was drowning in stress, trying to perfect my presentation while fending off Patricia's endless demands. Every time my phone buzzed, my stomach dropped, another text from her with some new emergency for the party. Sarah, we need to talk about the cake. Tom loves my red velvet recipe, she'd say. I gritted my teeth. Patricia, I'm in the middle of prepping for my defense. Can this wait? But she'd always reply with the same passive-aggressive jab. Oh, I see. Your little school project is more important than your husband's happiness. Her guilt trips were getting old fast. I tried to focus on my work, but the constant interruptions were wearing me down. One night, I overheard Tom on the phone with her. I don't know, Mom. Sarah's been pretty distant lately. Maybe you're right about her priorities. My blood ran cold. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. The next day, I confronted him. Hey, I heard you talking to your mom last night. What's this about my priorities? Tom shifted uncomfortably. It's nothing, Sarah. Mom's just worried about us, that's all. Worried? She's been undermining me at every turn, and now she's got you doubting me too. Come on, it's not like that, he said. You have been pretty focused on your defense lately. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Of course I have. It's the culmination of years of work. Tom, I thought you understood. I said, my voice barely hiding the frustration. He shrugged, avoiding my eyes. I do, but maybe Mom's right. Couldn't you reschedule? I stormed out of the room, fuming. The betrayal stung deep. Everything came to a head the day before my defense. I was at my desk, trying to make some last-minute revisions, when the doorbell rang. Opening it, I found Patricia standing there, arms full of party supplies. Surprise? I thought I'd come early to start setting up. We have so much to do, she chirped, stepping forward as if she owned the place. I stood there, dumbfounded. Patricia, I told you I can't help with the party. My defense is tomorrow. She pushed past me into the house like I hadn't spoken. Oh, about that. I've been thinking, you really should skip it. Excuse me. Well, dear, this party is important to Tom, and let's face it, your little presentation can wait. Family comes first. I felt like I'd stepped into some sort of twisted alternate reality. My little presentation is my PhD defense. It absolutely cannot wait. Patricia's eyes narrowed. I see. So, you're choosing your career over your family. I always knew you were selfish, but this takes the cake. Selfish. I was practically shaking. I've bent over backward trying to accommodate you, but this is my future we're talking about. Just then, Tom walked in, looking confused. What's going on? Patricia turned to him, tears welling up. Oh, Tom, I was just trying to help with your party, but Sarah, she's being so difficult. She wants to abandon you on your birthday. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. That's not true. Tom, please, you know how important this defense is to me. Tom looked between us, his face full of uncertainty. I don't know. Mom's put a lot of effort into this party, Sarah. It felt like a slap. Are you kidding me? After everything I've sacrificed? Patricia seized her chance. See, Tom, she doesn't care about your happiness at all. Something in me snapped. You know what? I'm done. I'm so done with both of you. I grabbed my laptop and keys, barely able to see through the tears burning in my eyes. Tom reached for my arm. Sarah, wait. I jerked away. No, Tom. You've made your choice, now I'm making mine. I stormed out, my vision blurred as I drove, the lump in my throat growing with each mile. I ended up at Elena's place, my best friend since college. The moment she opened the door and saw my face, she pulled me into a hug. Oh, honey, what happened? She asked softly. Through sobs, I told her everything. As I poured out the story, Elena's expression darkened. That manipulative, she muttered under her breath. You're staying here tonight. We'll get you through this defense, and then we'll figure out what to do about Tom and his monster of a mother. That night, as I lay on Elena's couch, my heart ached. But beneath all the pain, a small spark of determination flickered to life. There was no way I was letting them derail my dreams. Tomorrow, I'd show them all what I was made of. The next morning, I woke up with a pounding headache, momentarily forgetting everything. But then it hit me all over again. My defense. Tom. Patricia. The betrayal. Rise and shine, future Dr. Thompson. Elena chirped, way too cheerful for the early hour. I groaned, pulling a pillow over my face. I can't do this, Elle. Maybe I should just. Don't you dare finish that sentence, she cut me off. You've worked too hard to let those jerks win. Now get up, we've got a PhD to defend. Somehow, I made it to campus, my hands trembling as I set up for my presentation. The committee filed in, and suddenly it was showtime. Good morning, I began, my voice steadier than I felt. Today, I'll be presenting my research on novel approaches to targeted drug delivery in cancer treatment. As I dove into my work, something in me shifted. The fear and doubt melted away, replaced by the passion that had fueled me for years. I fielded questions confidently, even cracking a joke that made the notoriously stern Dr. Patel smile. When it was over, the room erupted into applause. Dr. Patel stood up, beaming. Congratulations, Dr. Thompson. Your work is truly groundbreaking. I floated out of the room on cloud 9, only to crash back to reality when I saw my phone. 15 missed calls from Tom. A barrage of texts from Patricia. I ignored them all. Elena and our friend Mike took me out for celebratory drinks. As we clinked glasses, I spilled everything. I can't believe Tom sided with his mom, Mike said, shaking his head. What are you going to do? I sighed, staring down at my drink. I don't know. I love him, but I don't know if I can keep living like this. I couldn't keep living like this. Elena squeezed my hand. Whatever you decide, we've got your back. The next few weeks passed in a blur. I started therapy, trying to untangle the mess of emotions I was buried under. Tom kept calling, alternating between apologies and accusations. I let every call go to voicemail. Then came the email that changed everything. A prestigious research institute offered me a postdoc position, my dream job. But there was a catch. It was across the country. I stared at my phone, Tom's number glowing on the screen. My finger hovered over the call button. But then I remembered his silence, the way he failed to stand up for me when I needed him most. I put the phone down and opened my laptop to accept the offer. The day I was packing up my office, Tom showed up. Sarah, please, he began, desperation in his voice. We can work this out. I'm sorry about everything with my mom. I'll do better, I promise. I looked at him for the first time in weeks. All I saw was a man who had failed me when it mattered most. I'm sorry, Tom, but I need to do this for me. I hope you understand. As I walked away, I felt a weight lift off my shoulders. For the first time in years, I was putting myself first, and it felt damn good. 6 months flew by in a whirlwind of research breakthroughs and self-discovery. I was thriving at my new job, making waves in the field of cancer treatment. My latest paper had just been accepted for presentation at the International Cancer Research Symposium in Geneva. I was prepping for my talk when my phone buzzed. It was Elena. "Hey, Elle, what's up?" I answered. "Sarah, you're not going to believe this. Tom's company just went under. Some massive fraud scandal. He's out of a job." I let out a low whistle. "Damn, that's rough." "That's not all," Elena continued. "Apparently, Patricia's been on a rampage. She's alienated half the family with her controlling BS. Tom's siblings aren't even talking to him anymore." I shook my head. Guess some things never change. After hanging up, I dove back into my work. A week later, I stood on stage in Geneva, presenting my research to a packed auditorium. The response was overwhelming. As I fielded questions from top researchers, my phone buzzed in my pocket. I ignored it. Later, I saw it was a text from Tom. "Sarah, I messed up. I see that now. Mom, she's toxic. I'm in therapy, trying to figure things out. I miss you. Can we talk?" I stared at the message, emotions swirling. Part of me wanted to respond, to try and mend things, but a stronger part knew better. I was about to delete the message when another call came through from an unknown number. "Hello? Sarah, it's Patricia. I heard about your success. I always knew you had it in you, dear. I was thinking perhaps we could let bygones be bygones. I'd love to catch up and hear all about your work." I almost laughed. "Patricia, with all due respect, no. You made your feelings about me and my work very clear. I'm not interested in reconnecting. Please don't contact me again." I hung up, feeling lighter than I had in years. The next morning, I woke up to an email from Biotech Innovations, the leading biotech company in the country. They were offering me a leadership position heading their cancer research division. As I sat in my hotel room overlooking the serene Lake Geneva, I reflected on how far I'd come. The scars were still there, reminders of the pain I'd endured, but they no longer defined me. The story of Sarah, Tom, and Patricia had come to an end. Now I got a question for you. If you were in Sarah's shoes, would you have given Tom a second chance after he sided with his manipulative mother? Or did Sarah make the right call by prioritizing her career and self-respect? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your experiences and opinions might just help someone facing a similar situation. Hey there, I'm Sandra. I'm 28, and after going through hell and back, I'm finally starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel. Right now, I'm working part-time at this cozy little bookstore downtown called Pig Turner. It's not much, but it pays the bills and keeps a roof over my head in the modest apartment I share with my best friend, Lily. "Sandra, you're going to crush this final." Lily cheers as I hunch over my textbooks at our tiny kitchen table. I manage a tired smile. "Thanks, Lil. I can't believe I'm almost there." "Girl, after everything with that jerk Mike, you deserve this win," she says, her voice softening at the mention of my ex-husband. The name still sends a shiver down my spine. Mike, the nightmare I finally woke up from. "Sandra, you okay? You zoned out for a sec." I shake my head, clearing the memories. "Yeah, just remembering. But that's the past, right? I'm free now." Just then, my phone buzzes with a text from Jason, my English lit study buddy. "Hey Sandra, still on for our study session at the library?" I smile and type back, "Absolutely. See you in 20. Jason's been a lifesaver this semester. Smart, funny, and totally platonic. Exactly what I needed after the disaster with Mike. As I gather my books, Lily gives me a knowing look. "So, any updates on the Eric front?" I feel my cheeks flush. Eric, the sweet, unassuming guy who comes into the bookstore every week, always leaving with a new novel, and that smile that makes my heart skip a beat. He asked me if I wanted to grab coffee sometime. I admit, unable to hide my grin. Lily squeals and pulls me into a hug. "Sandra, that's amazing. You deserve someone who treats you right." As I head out the door, I can't help but feel a flutter of excitement. Graduation is just around the corner. I've got amazing friends, and maybe, just maybe, a chance at love again. For the first time in years, I feel like I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. Little did I know, my past wasn't quite finished with me yet. But that's a story for another day. Right now, I've got a future to build, one page at a time. The morning of my graduation dawned bright and full of promise. Standing in front of the mirror, adjusting my cap and gown, it hardly seemed real that this day had finally arrived. "Sandra, you look amazing," Lily exclaims, snapping pictures with her phone. Total boss babe vibes. I laugh, striking a pose. "Thanks, Lil. I can't believe we're actually here." My phone buzzes again. This time a text from Eric. "Good luck today, Sandra. Can't wait to see you walk across that stage. You've earned this." My heart flutters. Eric has become such a significant part of my life in such a short time, and his support means everything. The auditorium buzzes with excitement as hundreds of graduates in black gowns mill about, eager and full of hope. I find my place in line, my heart pounding with anticipation. The ceremony begins, and as I watch my classmates cross the stage, pride swells within me. After everything I've overcome, this is my moment. "Sandra Johnson," the dean calls. My heart races as I step onto the stage, reaching for my diploma with trembling hands. Then, "Sandra, wait." A voice cuts through the ceremony, freezing me in place. No, it couldn't be. I turn and my blood runs cold. Rushing down the aisle is Mike, my ex-husband, the man who tried to crush my dreams for years. "What are you doing here?" I hiss as he bounds onto the stage, dropping to one knee, a ring in hand. The audience gasps. "Andra, baby, I'm so sorry for everything. Please give me another chance. Marry me again." Time seems to stop. Hundreds of eyes are on me, murmurs ripple through the crowd. Somewhere, I know Eric is watching this nightmare unfold. "Are you insane?" I manage, my voice trembling with fury. "Get out of here, Mike. We're done. We've been done for years." Suddenly, security rushes in, pulling him away as he struggles, still calling my name. The ceremony dissolves into chaos. I flee the stage, pushing past confused faculty and classmates, tears blurring my vision. I don't stop running until I burst out into the bright sunlight. "Sandra, wait." Eric's voice calls after me. He catches up, concern etched on his face. "Are you okay? What the hell just happened in there?" I can't speak, the flood of emotions I've been holding back crashing over me in sobs. Eric wraps his arms around me, holding me close. "It's okay," he whispers. "I've got you. You're safe now." "I'm so sorry," I whisper through my tears. "This isn't how today was supposed to go." Eric shakes his head, his eyes warm. "You have nothing to apologize for. That guy, he's the one who should be sorry." "That was Mike," I explain, my voice raw. "My ex-husband. I thought I was finally free of him." Eric's jaw clenched. "What he did in there. That's not okay, Sandra. Have you thought about getting a restraining order?" I nodded, suddenly feeling exhausted. Maybe it's time I looked into that. As we walked away from the auditorium, my graduation gown billowing in the breeze, I felt a swirl of emotions. Anger at Mike for ruining my day, sadness for the celebration I lost, but also a glimmer of hope. Despite Mike's best efforts, I wasn't alone anymore. I had Eric, Lily, and a strength I was only just beginning to recognize within myself. This wasn't the end of my story. It was just the beginning of a new chapter. The days after the graduation disaster were a blur. I barely left my apartment, ignoring calls and messages from concerned friends. The anxiety and depression I thought I'd left behind with my marriage came crashing back like a tidal wave. "Sandra, you need to eat something," Eric said gently, setting a plate of toast on my bedside table. He'd been a constant presence, patient and understanding, even when I tried to push him away. I can't face anyone right now." "Hey, look at me." Eric's voice was soft but firm. I reluctantly met his gaze. "What Mike did was awful, but you can't let him win by hiding away. You're stronger than that." As much as I hated to admit it, Eric was right. I couldn't let Mike control my life anymore. Slowly, I began to reconnect with the world. But when I scrolled through social media, my heart sank. "That lying bastard," I exclaimed, nearly throwing my phone across the room. "What is it?" Eric asked, alarmed. I showed him the screen, my hands shaking. "Mike's been posting all these lies, saying I cheated on him, that I'm unstable, and people are believing him." Eric's expression darkened. "We need to do something about this, Sandra. This isn't just gossip, it's defamation." As we dug deeper, a disturbing pattern emerged. Mike hadn't just been spreading lies online, he'd been systematically sabotaging my life for months. I don't understand, I said, pacing the living room. How did he know about that job interview? I never told him I applied. Lily, who had been helping us investigate, looked up from her laptop. Sandra, I think he's been intercepting your mail. Look at this. She showed me a series of redirected mail requests, all in Mike's handwriting. The realization hit me like a punch to the gut. He'd been stalking me, controlling my life from the shadows. That night, as Lily and I sat on the couch, the full weight of everything crashed down on me. I should have told you, I whispered, tears streaming down my face. The things he did, the things he said, I was so ashamed. You have nothing to be ashamed of, Lily said fiercely. He's the one who should be ashamed. As I poured out years of pent-up pain, detailing the emotional and verbal abuse I'd suffered at Mike's hands, Lily listened without judgment. For the first time, I felt the burden lighten. Over the next few days, we developed a plan. Eric reached out to a lawyer friend for advice, and Lily helped me document every instance of Mike's harassment. As we put the finishing touches on our plan, I felt a surge of empowerment. Mike had tried to break me, to control me, to erase the person I'd worked so hard to become. But he'd underestimated me, and now he was about to learn just how strong I really was. The date of our sting operation arrived, and my nerves were on edge. We'd set the trap carefully, orchestrating a fake job interview we knew Mike would try to sabotage. You ready for this? Eric asked, squeezing my hand reassuringly. I took a deep breath. As ready as I'll ever be. Lily and Jason were already in position, hidden cameras at the ready. I walked into the cafe where we'd arranged the interview, trying to act natural despite the butterflies in my stomach. Right on cue, Mike showed up, lurking in a corner booth. I pretended not to notice him as I greeted our plant, a friend posing as the interviewer. Halfway through the fake interview, Mike made his move. He approached our table, his face a mask of concern. Sandra, thank God I found you, he said, his voice dripping with fake sincerity. I can't let you go through with this interview. This company. Cut the crap, Mike, I interrupted, standing up. We know what you've been doing, the stalking, the lies, all of it. His face twisted with rage. You ungrateful, after everything I've done for you. That's when Lily and Jason emerged, cameras rolling. Several of our mutual friends, who we'd invited to witness the truth, stepped forward, shock and disgust etched across their faces. Mike realized he'd been caught. He tried to backpedal, but it was too late. His true colors were on full display. In the aftermath, armed with our evidence, I was granted a restraining order against Mike, but he couldn't let go. Within weeks, he violated it, showing up at my workplace. This time, there were real legal consequences. As Mike was led away in handcuffs, I felt a weight lift off my shoulders. But life had more surprises in store. A few weeks later, I received an unexpected call from Horizon Publishing, a prestigious company I'd always dreamed of working for. We've been following your story, Sandra, the HR manager said. Your resilience and determination are exactly what we're looking for. We'd like to offer you a position as an assistant editor. I was speechless. After years of struggle, my career was finally taking off. 1 year later, I stood in my new office at Horizon, a framed photo of Eric and me on my desk. I had just wrapped up a major project, feeling more confident and empowered than ever before. My phone buzzed with a news alert, and I nearly dropped it when I saw the headline. Local man arrested for fraud and investment scheme. There was Mike's mugshot, looking haggard and defeated. He had tried to scam investors in a desperate get-rich-quick scheme and was now facing serious jail time. I sat back in my chair, a complex mix of emotions washing over me. Part of me felt vindicated, seeing Mike finally face consequences for his actions. But mostly I felt free. Mike no longer had any power over me or my life. That evening, as Eric and I walked hand in hand through the park near our new apartment, I reflected on the journey that had brought me here. You know, I said, a few years ago, I never would have believed I could be this happy, this whole. Eric smiled. You did all the hard work, Sandra. I'm just glad I get to be part of your story now. As the sun set, painting the sky in brilliant oranges and pinks, I felt a profound sense of peace. The road hadn't been easy, but I'd emerged stronger, wiser, and surrounded by love. Mike had tried to write my story for me, casting me as the victim, but I'd taken back the pen. Now I was the author of my own life, And the next chapter, it was brighter than ever. The story of Sandra's triumph over her toxic ex-husband has come to an end. Now, I have a question for you. Is it ever acceptable to forgive someone who has repeatedly manipulated and abused you? Or is cutting them out of your life completely the only way to truly heal? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Hey everyone, I'm Sarah, 25, and I work as an accountant in the city. Right now, I'm living with my parents and my younger brother Mark, who's 22. Let's just say he's in no rush to join the working world. I've been busting my butt at work, trying to climb the corporate ladder, but recently I noticed something strange. My savings seemed to be shrinking. One night, I was counting the cash I'd stashed away. Yeah, I still do that, old school. And suddenly, I'm like, what the hell? Where's my money going? Fuming, I stormed downstairs. Mom, Dad, have either of you seen anyone messing with my stuff? I asked. Dad barely looked up from his newspaper. What are you talking about, Sarah? My money is disappearing, and I think Mark might be behind it. Mom gasped. How could you accuse your brother? He'd never do something like that. Right on cue, Mark sauntered in, all innocent. What's going on? He asked. I glared at him. You know exactly what's going on. Stop stealing my money. Whoa, chill out, sis. Maybe you're just bad at math, he smirked. Dad jumped in. Sarah, apologize to your brother. He's going through a rough patch. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. A tough time? I'm the one working my ass off while he sits around all day. Mom started tearing up. Why can't you support your brother? He's just trying to figure things out. I stormed out, slamming the door behind me. I needed to vent, so I called my best friend, Olivia. Liv, you won't believe this. Spill it, girl. What happened? I explained the whole situation. Olivia was quiet for a moment, then said, Sarah, you've got to stand up for yourself. This isn't fair. Later that week, I was at work, staring at my computer screen, totally distracted. Earth to Sarah. My coworker Tom waved a hand in front of my face. You okay? I sighed. Just family drama. Nothing new. He gave me a sympathetic look. If you ever need to talk, I'm here. That night, my boyfriend Jake came over. We were cuddling on my bed when he noticed how distant I seemed. Babe, what's wrong? He asked. I poured out the whole story, and Jake listened intently. After a moment, he said, maybe it's time you moved out. This situation isn't healthy. I nodded, but then a thought hit me. Actually, I think I know what I need to do. The next day, I was at the electronics store, browsing through hidden cameras. The clerk gave me a weird look, but I didn't care. I was done being the victim. It was time to catch Mark red-handed. A few weeks later, the cameras were set up, and the footage was making my blood boil. I sat at my desk, watching the videos on my laptop, and there it was, Mark sneaking into my room, rifling through my drawers, and pocketing my cash. The audacity. He even had the nerve to smirk while doing it. That lying piece off, I muttered, clenching my fists. But it got worse. I had audio too. I overheard a conversation between Mark and my parents in the kitchen. Sarah's so selfish, Mark whined. She's got all this money and won't even help her own brother. Mom's voice chimed in. I know, sweetie. We'll talk to her about being more supportive. I was livid. I called Olivia again. Liv, I caught him red-handed. No way. What are you going to do? I'm thinking of showing my parents the footage. They have to believe me now, right? Olivia hesitated. Just be prepared, Sarah. This might not go the way you hope. The next day at work, I was distracted, replaying the videos in my head. My boss stopped by my desk. Sarah, great job on the Johnson account. How would you feel about taking on more responsibility? I blinked. Surprise, really? I'd love to. Great, let's discuss your promotion next week. As I processed the good news, Jake called. Hey babe, want to grab dinner tonight? Actually, can you come over? I need to show you something. Jake arrived and I showed him the footage. His jaw dropped. Sarah, this is serious. You need to confront them. I nodded, feeling a mixture of anger and nervousness. I know I'm going to do it tonight. As I psyched myself up, there's a knock at my door. It's Tom from work. Hey, I noticed you seemed off today. Everything okay? He asks. I hesitate but decide to confide in him. Actually, no. My brother's been stealing from me and I finally have proof. Tom's eyes widen. That's terrible. Do you need any help? I shake my head. Thanks, but this is something I need to handle myself. That night, I'm pacing in my room, the USB with the footage feeling like it weighs a ton in my hand. I can hear Mark and my parents laughing downstairs, probably at some lame joke Mark made. I take a deep breath. It's now or never. I march downstairs, my heart pounding. Family meeting. Now, I say, my voice firm. Dad looks up annoyed. Sarah, we're in the middle of dinner. This can't wait. I reply, my voice steely. I have something you all need to see. As I set up my laptop on the dining table, I can feel Mark's eyes boring into me. He knows, but it's too late for him now. I hit play, and the room falls silent. It's time for the truth to come out, and I'm ready for whatever comes next. The video plays, and I watch my family's faces shift. Mom's hand flies to her mouth, Dad's eyes narrow, and Mark, he's turning pale as a ghost. What the hell is this? Dad demands, his voice harsh. I pause the video. This is proof. Mark's been stealing from me for months. Mark jumps up, knocking his chair over. You put cameras in your room? What kind of psycho does that? The kind who's tired of being robbed by her own brother. I snap back. Mom's shaking her head. Sarah, how could you invade your brother's privacy like this? I can't believe what I'm hearing. Are you serious? Did you miss the part where he's been stealing my money? Dad stands up, his face red with anger. You had no right to film your brother without his consent. This is a violation of his trust. His trust? I laugh bitterly. What about my trust? What about the fact that he's been lying and stealing from me? Mark sees his chance and jumps in. I can't believe you'd do this to me, Sarah. I thought we were family. Oh, don't you dare play the victim, I snarl. You're nothing but a thief and a liar. Mom starts crying. How can you say such horrible things about your brother? He's going through a difficult time. And I'm not? I shout, my voice rising. I'm working my ass off trying to save money, and he's stealing it right from under my nose. Dad slams his hand on the table. That's enough, Sarah. You will apologize to your brother right now and delete that footage. I stare at him in disbelief. Apologize? Are you out of your mind? He's the one who should be apologizing. If you can't respect your brother's privacy and trust him, Mom cuts in, her voice cold, then maybe you shouldn't be living under this roof. I feel like I've been slapped. Are you already kicking me out? Dad nods grimly. Until you can learn to trust your family and not resort to such underhanded tactics, yes. I look at each of them, Mom crying, Dad fuming, and Mark with that smug look on his face. Something inside me snaps. Fine, I say, my voice icy and calm. I'll go, but don't expect me to come crawling back when you finally realize what a manipulative leech you've been protecting. I storm upstairs and start throwing clothes into a bag. My phone buzzes. It's Olivia. How did it go? They kicked me out, Liv. Can I crash at your place? Of course, honey. I'm so sorry. As I'm packing, there's a soft knock at my door. It's Mark. Come to steal something else before I leave. I spit out. He has the audacity to look hurt. Sarah, come on. You know I was just borrowing the money. I was going to pay you back. Save it, Mark. I'm done with your lies. I brush past him, levying my bag. Mom and Dad are waiting at the bottom of the stairs. Sarah, please, Mom pleads, her voice shaky. Just apologize and we can forget this whole thing. I look at them, these people who are supposed to love and support me, and feel nothing. With a sense of disappointment, I say goodbye and walk out the door. As I wait for my Uber, I text Jake and Tom, letting them know what happened. Their supportive responses make me feel a little less alone. The car arrives, and as we drive away, I watch my childhood home disappear in the rearview mirror. It hurts, but part of me feels free. This isn't the end, it's a new beginning. Fast forward 6 months and life has taken quite the turn. I'm sitting in my new apartment, sipping coffee and looking out at the city skyline. It's not huge, but it's mine, and that means everything. My phone buzzes. It's Olivia. Girl, you ready for tonight? This gala is going to be lit, she says. I laugh. As ready as I'll ever be. Can't believe I'm being honored at a company event. Feels surreal. After hanging up, I check my emails. There's one from my boss. Sarah, your performance this quarter has been outstanding. We're discussing another promotion. Keep up the great work. I grin, feeling a surge of pride. Take that, Mark. Speaking of Mark, word on the street is that he's gotten himself into some trouble. Without me to steal from, he turned to online scams. Big mistake. The doorbell rings. It's Jake with breakfast. Morning, superstar, he says, kissing me. Ready for your big night? As we eat, my phone pings with a news alert. I nearly choke on my bagel. The headline reads, "Local man arrested for online fraud scheme." And there's Mark's mugshot, looking as pathetic as ever. Jake reads over my shoulder. Whoa, karma's a ha. I nod, feeling a mix of satisfaction and pity. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Later, as I'm getting ready for the gala, my phone rings. It's a number I haven't seen in months. Home. I hesitate, then answer. Hello. Sarah, it's Mom. Her voice is shaky. We saw the news about Mark, and we've been thinking. We were wrong about everything. Can we talk? I take a deep breath. I'm sorry, but no, I'm happy now, and I'm not going back to that toxic environment. I wish you the best, but I've moved on. I hang up, feeling a weight lift off my shoulders. The gala is in full swing when I arrive. Olivia, Jake, and Tom are there, cheering me on as I receive an award for my contributions to the company. As I give my speech, I look out at the crowd, my chosen family. 6 months ago, I thought I'd lost everything. I begin. But sometimes, losing what you thought you needed is the best thing that can happen to you. It forces you to find your true strength and your real support system. I raise my glass. Here's to new beginnings, true friends, and karma. The room erupts in applause. As I step off the stage, my phone buzzes. It's a text from an unknown number. Congrats, sis. I'm sorry for everything. Mark. I stare at it for a moment, then delete it without responding. Some bridges are better left burned. Olivia grabs my arm. Come on, girl, let's celebrate. As we get the dance floor, I realize I've never felt more free, more myself. Sometimes the family you choose is stronger than the one you're born into. And me? I'm just getting started. The story may have come to an end, but I have a question for you. If you were in my shoes, would you have forgiven your family and given them another chance? Or do you think I made the right choice by cutting ties completely? This situation isn't black and white, and I'd love to hear your thoughts. What would you have done differently, if anything? Share your opinion in the comments below. Your perspective might help someone going through a similar situation. If you enjoyed this story and want to hear more like it, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Your support means the world to me and helps me continue sharing these real-life experiences. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.